Yes, yes. Good morning. Audible? No. So, today we'll see East Asia. Can you people open Asia map? Asia political map. So, guys, in Asia political, if you see, you'll observe China, Korea, Japan. You'll also have Taiwan, right? Can you all see? You have China, Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. There are four issues in the world, guys. One is about Jammu and Kashmir. Second is about South Korea and North Korea. Third is about Israel, Palestine. Sri Lanka, LTTE issue and all were there. Now they are not relevant. So today in the world there are three issues. One issue is the Korean issue as well. So now when we look at this Korea, as you can see, Japan on one side, China on the other side. Fine. All these three were kingdoms, guys. They were all ruled by kings. At this point of time, Europeans came and defeated Japan. And they signed some agreements with Japan. According to those agreements, Japan should surrender their economy in favor of Europeans. Japan felt that we are humiliated, we lost the war, we are surrendering ourselves to some Europeans. We should also become like this. That led to what we call as Meiji nationalism, we say, MEIJI. Now this Meiji nationalism, they focus mostly upon making Japanese people the most powerful people across the world. Right? That means they sent their people to Europe, North America and other places. It is said that Japanese were sent with cameras and recorder. Cameras were their eyes, recorder were their brain. Where they went, they got information, technology from other parts of the world, came back to Japan and started developing them in Japan. And Japanese became very, very powerful as well. But remember, almost everywhere, if you want to go for industrialization, what you need is iron ore and coal. Without iron ore and coal, industrialization is not possible. Unfortunately, Japan doesn't have both iron ore and coal. So that made Japanese to be scared what should be done. At that time, they found some iron ore in Korea And just beside Korea, in this particular part, if you check, you will have Gobi Desert, Manchurian Plains. Can you see? Physical map you check. Beside Mongolia, yeah, do you have? Yes, it is in this particular part they found iron ore and coal. As iron ore and coal is there, China wanted to capture these regions and take iron ore and coal so that they can do industrialization. During this, Japanese captured Korea and Japan signed agreements similar to what Europeans signed with Japanese. Do you recollect I told you Europeans are signing few agreements with whom? Japan. Same agreements were signed by Japan with whom? Koreans. And each and every economic thing in Korea came under the control of whom? Japan. And the Queen of Korea did not like this. She felt somewhere Japanese are involving too much. We should be careful about Japan. So she started having contacts with China and also Russia. Can you see, North Korea has a small boundary with Russia as well. Yes, but mostly with China, less with Russia. Who was trying? Korea was trying. Once what happened? Farmers in Korea started protesting against the king. They told that we must not surrender to the king. We do not have fair prices. We should protest against the king. When all the farmers were protesting, Korean king took the help of China. He called China and asked, my farmers are protesting. They are not listening to me. Can you send your army? They all came. And they started suppressing the revolt. At that time, Japanese called Koreans and asked, why are you talking to Chinese when I am here? You should have called me rather than calling whom? Chinese. China should not interfere in your internal matters. I will only enter because you have agreement with me. You should listen only to me. At that time, the queen decided that if I sign agreement only with Korea, it will be a problem. But if I try to sign the agreement with Chinese also, Russians also, then the problem will be less. So she decided to sign agreement with China. When she was about to sign, Japanese troops entered into Korean palace and burned the queen alive. And after they burned the queen, they made Korea a colony of Japan. So Korea became part of whom? Japanese. In 1945, when US bombarded nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, at that point of time, Russia from top started attacking Korea. Fine? US from below started attacking Korea. Russia is attacking from top, US is attacking from bottom. Both met at 38 latitude. Which latitude? 38 latitude. And this became North Korea. This became North Korea followed communism. South Korea followed democracy. North Korea came under the control of whom? USSR. South Korea came under the control of US. At this point of time, Koreans wanted to be together. They didn't want to be separated, or they don't want to be a war game between US and USSR. So, these two were trying to come together. At this point of time, they went to United Nations. United Nations told that ask the people of Koreans whether they want to choose democracy or they want to choose communism. South Korea participated in the referendum. North Korea did not participate. As North Korea did not participate, North Korea remained what? Communist country, whereas South Korea remained democratic. Now, North Korea, 1949, in China, Mao Zedong came to power. Once Mao Zedong came to power, North Korea along with China attacked South Korea and they captured almost till here. Both the troops. They captured till here. This was South Korea, left. Entire region came under the control of North Korea. Russians had captured this much. The world community started criticizing Russia. Why did you attack? Even India told Russia is bad. Why is Russia doing this? US told to the world, if we criticize Russia, it's different. But a country like India, which is peace loving, which stand for peace, and if it is criticizing Russia, then we should understand what Russians have done. India was given a lot of hype during this. At this point of time, US decided to wage the war and again fight back. So when US decided to fight back, can you see the border is somewhat like this now? Yes. So this became what? North Korea. This became South Korea. So US and its troops came till here. North Korea and the troops came till here and they got the line. And today this line is called as DMZ, which means demilitarized zone between North Korea and South Korea. Is this fine? Now when US attacked, India started criticizing US. Anyhow the war was over. Entire thing became one Korea. Why did you again fight and divide them into North Korea and South Korea? So guys, today in the world we have two Koreans. One is Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Another one is Republic of Korea. Which is North Korea, which is South Korea, guys? This is what? This is what? This is North Korea. This is. So where democracy is not there, it's in the name. Fine. They call themselves to be democratic. This is what? What is India's name? Republic of India. Do we call Democratic People's Republic of India? No. World knows that we are democracy. But they try to tell we are also democratic by this. You might have heard about Kim Jong-un. Yes. Now, his grandfather was supported by USSR and China and he was ruling North Korea. After his death, his son came to power. That is, Kim Jong-un's father came to power. At this point of time, China gave nuclear weapons technology to Pakistan because 1974 India started having nuclear weapon. We went for Pokhran 1. When we did Pokhran 1, the world thought India has nuclear weapons. Now India is very, very powerful. So China didn't want India to be more powerful. So China gave nuclear weapons technology indirectly to Pakistan. When we do not have records for that, so we can't claim that openly. But in 1998, India went for Pokhran 2. You might have heard, India went for Pokhran 2. And when India went, within a week, Pakistan also tested nuclear weapons. 1998, Pakistan also had, India also had. But if you say Abdul Kalam as missile man of India, who was involved in getting the Pokhran tested, similarly in Pakistan, there is one person who was important in developing the nuclear weapon. Now that guy was giving nuclear weapons technology to North Korea. He had given nuclear weapons technology to North Korea. And who got nuclear weapons now? North Korea got nuclear weapons. And once North Korea got nuclear weapons, North Korea tested nuclear weapon closer to South Korea. They launch missile once in a while, where it was falling here. India also does the testing. Have you heard? Wheeler Islands near Odisha, there is something called as APJ Abdul Kalam Island. From that island we also test our missiles. North Korea tested nuclear missiles. They didn't test nuclear, but they tested missiles. It fell here. South Korea got scared that this North Korea may drop a nuclear bomb on me. I should be careful about whom? North Korea. So South Korea went and asked US, please help me. These North Koreans may attack me. North Korea, when it did this, US, Russia, China, UK, France, South Korea and Japan. All these countries, including North Korea, sat and discussed, what can we do? North Korea told, I will not attack, and in turn I will give up nuclear weapons as well. That means I will dismantle them. But you should give me $3 billion. Money keeps changing. You should give me $3 billion. If you give $3 billion, I will not attack South Korea. Who told? North Korea. The world community arranged $3 billion and gave it to North Korea. In North Korea, economy is not there. They don't have any work. So what they did, 1.5 to $2 billion Kim Jong-un's father kept. Remaining $1 billion they gave it to people. Food grains and all they started distributing. How many years it will be there? It will be there for only less years. At this time, again they started dropping bomb after some 4 to 5 years. Where? South Korea. Now South Korea went and asked, see, North Korea is again dropping the bomb and threatening. This is not fair. US told, don't worry, nothing will happen. Then when no one responded, North Korea started dropping few missiles closer to Japan. Then is Japan scared? Japan already had Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? So Japan told US, protect me. You have to protect me. US told, fine, let's talk. What do you want? North Korea. North Korea told, I want $10 billion now. Fine, you give me money, I will stop bombing again. Right? So US told, this time you should dismantle. If you don't dismantle, it will be a problem. So please dismantle. At this time they agreed to dismantle, and then what happened? They started using the money. They got the money. Two times there was agreements between these two. Now what happened? Kim Jong-un came to power. Now when son came to power, he wants to show his powerful. You might have seen Kim Jong-un. Yes. So in North Korea, it's like you might have heard during COVID and all, if you laugh also they were killing. Like, even it will be like he will launch a missile, the missile will go and fall somewhere, he'll clap and laugh. Fine. When he claps and laughs, people around him should also laugh at the same time. Right. After he starts, they should start. There is a protocol for laughing also. It's not like, that you laugh out of the box. So then, if you keep laughing, even after that, he'll shoot. They are such mad people. And the biggest crime in North Korea is watching English movies. Fine, if you watch English movies and all, they hang them in public. Once in a while, they raid houses and try to see, whether they have any books, novels and all of US people or not, because they think them to be the most criminals there. And one of the biggest problem for North Koreans is vitamin A deficiency, where they have night blindness a lot. And these people, they bring doctors and all from Cuba and other parts, and they operate it. And once the people get the eyesight, they'll be like Jai Kim Jong-un, North Korea, down US, and they walk. So right from the childhood, they are brainwashed to hate US and others, and Kim Jong-un and his family is considered to be the god for them. Now, when Kim Jong-un came to power, what he did? Again the same thing started. He bombed here. The world was worried. He started bombing here. Obama was the president. Obama warned Kim Jong-un, if this is going to happen, you are going to face serious consequences this time. And North Korea was also not ready to bow down. At this point of time, Obama told, let my successor handle. I am anyways going to leave. In the last minutes, I don't want to take any decisions. So, who came to power? Trump. Trump came to power. So, when Trump came to power, Kim Jong-un attacked here and he attacked here. Trump told, don't worry about Kim Jong-un, we will give you an anti-ballistic missile technology called as THAAD. Fine. India has S-400. Fine. India is taking S-400 from Russia. Now this is what? THAAD. From whom are we getting this? From US. US is giving to whom? South Korea and Japan. Each one is almost $5 billion. $5 to $10 billion. In prelims, UPSC asked, what is THAAD? Clear? So now, when US was selling this, North Korea became angry. Every time I used to threaten and I used to get money. This time I threatened, US got money. Right? US is getting 5 billion from these two. And then he started threatening whom? US as well. North Korea told US, if you don't bow down, I will drop a nuclear bomb on you. And he dropped a missile closer to Hawaiian Islands in Pacific Ocean. And that is part of US. Who dropped? North Korea. When Kim Jong-un dropped, Trump told, you dropped, now I will drop. Fine, now I will drop. Till now, whenever North Koreans dropped a bomb, other countries used to come and talk. For the first time, Trump is telling, you dropped, I will drop a bigger bomb. Let's see whose will work better. Fine, so this was not accepted by Trump. They didn't expect that someone will respond like this. And remember, Trump gave a notice to all the embassies in North Korea asking that I am going to drop a nuclear bomb, you people vacate. Are you getting the point? Many ambassadors left as well. India was also present in North Korea. During this, India signed an agreement with North Korea saying that in case you people wage war, you should not drop a bomb on me. Fine? Because what? Because North Korea is under the control of whom? China. China may ask North Korea to drop a bomb on India. So India has got it in writing that they will not bomb on us. Second, India told US, just before you drop a bomb, you tell we will come out. Till that time we will be there only. We don't want to vacate the embassy till that particular point. And when everyone left, when the world was scared, there may be a nuclear war, right? Next few days after that, Kim Jong-un came out and told that, I want peace. I want to talk to South Korea. Let North Korea and South Korea come together and resolve our disputes. For the first time, North Korean leader crossed 38th parallel. He entered into South Korea, shook hands, took pictures. In Asian Games, North Korea and South Korea came together and they participated as Korea in the games. So, buildings which were there as threats, they were also removed. Kim Jong-un started dismantling nuclear weapons in North Korea. Everything was going. Trump asked, I want Nobel Peace Prize for this. I'm the one who has brought peace between North Korea and South Korea. So I want Nobel Peace Prize. Trump wants everything what Obama got. Whatever Obama did, Trump did against it. And 3 to 4 times on camera, Trump has accepted that Nobel Peace Prize, they are biased towards me. Why are they not giving? And many people were like, what happened? Why did Kim Jong-un change it all of a sudden? No one is aware. But some reports say that US spoke to China and told, this is the region where nuclear weapons are being placed by North Korea. Now if I drop a bomb, I will be dropping the bomb here. Right? And in case if it misses, it falls in China. Fine? And they were asking the people to vacate from the region, so that in case the bomb falls that side, fine, there won't be damage much. Chinese were aware they won't fall by chance. Trump will definitely put the bomb there only. Right. So Chinese were also aware when someone is asking you to vacate the premises, that means the seriousness of the issue is more. And China convinced Kim Jong-un and forced them to accept the agreements. And Kim Jong-un told, can I meet Trump and resolve the problem? Trump told, I will meet you only when you dismantle it. You can't fool us again and again. 2 times you took money from us and told that we will dismantle. You didn't dismantle. This time you can't escape. You have to dismantle this time at any cost. Fine? And then they started dismantling. Trump was about to meet them. He lost elections. Second COVID came. Right? All these made again the issue to be the same way. And Kim Jong-un disappeared for a while. People don't know why he has disappeared or whether he is there or not there. We don't know. And then his sister took over for a while and she was controlling, and she told, I don't like talks. I want to continue the way it was before. That is, North Korea will be the same way as it was before. Wherever peace talks were going on, she stopped all those peace talks, and again the things have started. But do you understand? So Korean crisis is also similar to Kashmir issue, where until and unless both sides resolve the problem, you will not be solving the issue. And guys, Korea and India, if you see, North Korea, right, and India today has agreements where North Korea has told that they will not drop a bomb on India. South Korea and India also have good relations. In 1990, when India went for liberalization, privatization and globalization, right, South Korea and Japan were the two countries which came and established companies in India. If you look at Honda, Suzuki and all, right, they all came to India, right, from Korea and Japan, and they helped India to liberalize faster. The reason for this was when 1947, when Korea and Japan did not had iron ore and coal, it was India who helped them. So they supported India immediately after what? 1990. Is this clear? So just few points here, right? East Asia, hyphen, it includes Korea, Japan, China and Taiwan. Below this, you write Korean Peninsula, Korean Peninsula, hyphen, below this. Korea was an independent kingdom. Full stop. Europeans had defeated Japan, and they had signed agreements with Japan. Similar agreements were signed by Japanese with Koreans. Over a period of time, Korea became colony of Japan, and after Second World War, US forces attacked Korea from below, and USSR attacked from above. Next point. 38th parallel 38th parallel became boundary between North Korea and South Korea. Next paragraph. US raised the issue in United Nations. US raised the issue in United Nations, and UN Security Council, UNSC, argued that people of Korea will decide about democracy or communism. First, South Korea conducted referendum whereas North Korea did not. This led to establishment of DPRK, Democratic People's Republic of Korea or North Korea, and Republic of Korea or South Korea. Next, North Korea with the help of China attacked South Korea and captured most parts of Korea. This led to Korean crisis. Next paragraph. US and its allies attacked North Korea and North Korean troops withdrew till DMZ, demilitarized zone, DMZ, demilitarized zone. Next paragraph. It is believed that Pakistan has given nuclear weapons technology to North Korea. Full stop. With this, North Korea has threatened South Korea and Japan Full stop. When world community interfered and went for peace talks, North Korea accepted to dismantle. Unfortunately, they didn't dismantle. Recently, Trump administration has forced North Korea to dismantle. Next, due to COVID and ill health of North Korean leader, talks have been suspended. Fine. So yes, now see guys, in between South Korea and China, there is a small island called as Socotra Rock. Fine. There is a small island called as Socotra Rock. You will not find it, don't worry. Fine. So it's no man's land. Fine. No one is present in that part. So South Korea says, this belongs to me, and South Korea has established what we call as air defense identification zone. Let me say, this is my territory. If anyone is trying to come, I will have radars in this part, and as soon as they come, I will tell someone is entering into my territory. Fine. So I will send a request. Who are you? Why are you entering? If they don't respond in time, I have credibility to blast them, because this is my territory. No one can enter into my territory without my permission. India also has this with Pakistan border and all. So, Korea has established air defense identification zone like this. But remember, China says this belongs to me. Actually, China was having a king, and communists or Naxals, they overthrew the king and they came to power. That king is hiding in Taiwan, and Taiwan is known as what? Republic of China. All the documents are with whom? The king itself. So, what Taiwan has done, Taiwan has put air defense identification zone around what? Socotra Rock. Now, there are some islands in this part called as Senkaku Islands or Diaoyu Islands. Japan and China claims this belongs to them. Actually, this was part of China. This was part of China. Now, Japanese defeated China and took this region. US defeated Japan and took these islands. Fine, it was under the control of US. US found lot of oil in the region. As US found oil in the region, they gave that to Japan back and told, this is yours, you keep. Fine. So now, who has these islands? Japan. China says, US took it from you, they gave it back. You took it from me, you give it back. Will Japan give? Japan has told, this is mine. Taiwan is telling, it is theirs. Who has all the documents? Taiwan has the documents. Fine. Now, China says, Taiwan is right. Taiwan is right. Socotra Rock, Senkaku belongs to whom? Taiwan. But Taiwan belongs to me. Taiwan belongs to whom? China. So if Taiwan belongs to China, China says, this is Chinese air defense identification zone. Can you see? Every country's air defense identification zone is overlapping. Now if an aircraft enters into this, Japanese will ask who you are, Taiwan will ask who you are, China will ask who you are. You have to respond to everyone. Else they will blast you. You don't know who will drop a bomb on you. So India is asking, please let us have open Asia Pacific. Free and open Asia Pacific. That means let people travel without any problem in this region. Till the time you people come to conclusion, allow us to travel peacefully in the region. Japan has also told, India is right. Let us have free and open Asia Pacific in the region. Fine. So UPSC recently asked, what are Senkaku Islands? This year, prelims question. What are Senkaku Islands? They are disputed territories in between whom? China and Japan. In which sea? East China or South China Sea? East China Sea. South China Sea is different issue. Fine. This was what? East China Sea issue. So three options were South China, South China, South China. Only one option was East China. So if you are aware about the issues, then it's clear. Fine. So guys, today the world is focused on East Asia and East China Sea and South China Sea. People believe that the future world politics is played in this region. So India says, don't call it as Asia Pacific region, call it Indo-Pacific region. Can you see? Don't make it Asia Pacific, make it Indo-Pacific. If it is Asia Pacific, India is not part. If it is Indo-Pacific, then Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean both will come into picture, and India is a major player. Have you heard about Quad? QUAD, Quad. Quad is also Indo-Pacific region. India, Australia, Japan, US. Right? We are together to work in this particular part. So which are the two islands you saw? Socotra Rock, in between whom? Socotra Rock is in between whom? Korea and Japan. What about this? Senkaku Islands. It is in between Japan and China. Guys, we have something called as airspace. The meaning of airspace is how much air above a country belongs to you. Above India, how much belongs to you is called as airspace. In the ocean, how much is yours is maritime boundary. But in the air, how much is yours is the airspace of a country. Fine. So now, normally, if anyone enters into our airspace, let us say, this is Bangalore, this is Kanyakumari. A flight is moving from Kanyakumari to Bangalore. Fine. And from here, we have to go to Hyderabad. Now when they are moving in a straight direction, there is no problem. There will be one route given. And in that route, these people have to go. They can't go wherever they want. Let us say, from Colombo, Sri Lanka, one flight has to come to this. Come to Hyderabad. From Colombo, one flight is coming to Hyderabad. Now if the flight has to come, can they come directly like this? If they come directly like this, they will be crossing over Sriharikota. Do you understand? Sriharikota. So now, if Sri Lanka, like aeroplane, comes to Hyderabad, and while coming, we also have a rocket launching on the same day. Fine. So isn't it a danger? Isn't it a threat? So what we normally do, there will be some areas called as prohibited areas. You will have restricted areas. You will have danger zones, right? You will have controlled airspace, and uncontrolled airspace. From the ground surface till 12 to 15 kilometers, air is ours. We call it controlled airspace. Anyone, if they enter into this region, they have to communicate to us. We will ask where you are going. If they tell, I am going to Pakistan, then we will tell, fine, wait, I will give you a route. You follow that route and go to Pakistan. We don't have an objection. But they should communicate where they are going. Now that will go in that particular direction. And they have to tell us from where they came, where they are going, how many passengers are on board, what is the flight, what is the route, everything. And then uncontrolled beyond 12 kilometers, if we have to go, then it comes under what? Uncontrolled. When Pakistan did not allow India to go to Afghanistan via Pakistan airspace, because air you cannot go to Chabar port and then go. So you wanted to go. So what we did, we bypassed Pakistan, entered into Pakistan's uncontrolled airspace, and then we directly went to Afghanistan. Now when we go, we should have our own route, our own path, and that path must not be closer to missile testing areas of Pakistan, rocket launching areas of Pakistan, and Pakistan will have some prohibited areas, restricted areas. We should not pass through that. So we went in that direction. Now, if you go to airport, guys, normally you might have heard, one of the biggest problem for airplanes is when a flight is moving, if an eagle touches it, it blasts. A small stone, if it hits it, it will blast. So because of the friction, pressure, it will be moving, right? Even a slight fire will blast it. So if you go to airports, you might observe one flight will take off, another one will land. One will take off, another one will land. They will give the time. See, so much they have constructed. Can't they give 2 to 3 runways where one will land and another one will take off? They will use only one at a time, mainly because gap must be there between one aircraft which takes off and another aircraft which lands. So between two aircrafts which is taking off, they maintain a gap because the air or the smoke that comes out of the one doesn't hit the other. So they maintain it. Air traffic they maintain so that accidents and all doesn't happen. Now, what is danger zones? Missile testing areas, rocket launching stations, they are all notified as what? Danger zones. Restricted area. Let us say in Bangalore, you will have once in a while aero show. Have you heard? Like, where we try to show our aircrafts and all. Now, when aero show is there, can someone come to that area? It will be difficult. Let us say Republic Day, Independence Day parade is going on in Delhi. At that time, entire airspace will be taken by Air Force. At that time also, they won't allow. And you take the case nuclear reactors, Taj Mahal, right? In all those areas, if some aircraft is passing, if they drop a bomb, it's a threat. So what we do, we don't allow anyone to pass through such areas. They are all called as what? Restricted areas. Prohibited areas, they will have certain dams, nuclear reactors and all. So restricted means for some time they won't allow. Prohibited means completely prohibited, where you can never fly over them. Like this, different zones are present in the country. Remaining zones are left for movement. In India, it is believed that 70 to 80% of airspace is restricted itself. You might have heard about now drone. They are focusing more, right? New programs are also coming with respect to drone. Now drone is also trying to take airspace. So for that, new rules and regulations they are planning and trying to ensure that the drone movement is in a proper manner. But just remember, to control our airspace, India has a 6 ADIZ. What is ADIZ? Air Defense Identification Zone. India has with Pakistan, India has with China, India has with Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, coastal areas, right? We have Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep. In different areas, we have placed our own air defense identification zone to avoid countries coming over us. Can you tell me, will ADIZ be present only over the country, or will it be present over the sea as well? Sea, till where in the sea? 12 nautical miles, which is part of your territorial waters. Fine. So you just write below, disputes in East China Sea. disputes in East China Sea. Socotra Rock, SOCATRA, SOCOTRA, Socotra Rock, SOCOTRA, rock, 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 is disputed between South Korea, China and Taiwan. Next paragraph. Senkaku Islands or Diaoyu Islands DIAYUOU, Diaoyu Islands are disputed between Japan, China and Taiwan in East China Sea. Next paragraph. Japan had established ADIZ, Air Defense Identification Zone, around Senkaku Islands, Similarly, Taiwan had established ADIZ, overlapping Senkaku and Socotra Rock. Full stop. South Korean ADIZ, covers Socotra Rock. Next point. China established its ADIZ overlapping Senkaku, Socotra and Taiwan in East China Sea. Because of this dispute, international navigation navigation in the region has become difficult. Next paragraph. India and other countries have requested for FOIP, free and open Indo-Pacific region. Free and open Indo-Pacific region. Full stop. Next, you write subheading Japan. Yeah. So can you just see in Japan there are 4 islands, guys. Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, Kyushu. Can you see? 4 islands are there. Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, Kyushu. Do you have? Yes, above Japan, can you see few islands will be there called Kuril Islands? Kuril Islands. They are closer to Russia. Those were disputed between Japan and Russia. Fine? So guys, as I told you, Japan is one of the most powerful country of Asia, who was a role model for many of us during the World War or colonial period. There was a mindset that Europeans are racially superior, we are all subordinate, Asians are always subordinate to Europeans. But in 1895 if I am not wrong, when Japan defeated Russia, the world got to know that Asians can defeat Europeans as well, which was a source of inspiration for many extremists in India, right? So Japan, as soon as they came to power, that is like, the Meiji regime came to power, they trained Japanese in such a way that each and every Japanese work for the country, and even now it has continued, right? You might have heard statements like, in a metro station, if a train stops on the metro rails and all, they write, only train stops here, not time. Start working. Fine. So they have trained the people in such a way that at any point they should keep on working. And guys, if there is an earthquake and there is collapse of a dam, they construct it back within 4 to 5 days. Fine. And when they protest, the protest in Japan is working more, not working. Like, in the sense, if you have an apparel sector, shoe manufacturing or so, they manufacture only one leg shoes more. They don't manufacture the other size at all, other leg at all. So what is going to happen? You cannot sell. But I am working. And they produce more so that sales are less, production is more, company will go for recession. It's not the other way around. And if a train is late by 2 to 5 minutes, right, they will come, the conductor will come, he will apologize everyone personally, and he will give a letter to everyone saying that the train got delayed because of metro problem, not because of that guy. He is not late, train is late. And they can know that letter, they can give it in the offices, and then they can enter, because if you go late, it is not considered to be proper. And in Japan now they have this new culture as well. If you go to rich parties, one of the big gift that they provide us, the one which is broken down. Like, if anything is broken down, they try to stick it in a beautiful manner and they give. And they try to say that, like, just because something is broken, you should not throw it away. People who are broken must also be treated well. And once you stick them back, it looks more beautiful than it is actually before. Fine? And that is one of the most important gifts they provide now. But the biggest problem for Japanese now is population. They don't have population. People are not in a mood to marry and have children. That's one of the basic problem there, where the government is making it 4 days a week work. 3 days is holiday. Mandatorily people have to take 3 days holidays. And work also, Japanese is now trying to do 8 hours per day, not beyond that. 8 hours including traveling time. Are you getting the point? Work less, go home. Go home. They are more worried about the population because, child birth rates are extremely low. Old population is extremely high, right? And birth rate is less than death rate. That means what is happening? Deaths are more compared to births. And if this continues, Japanese will not exist. Right? And that's their basic problem. So, Japanese are more worried about the population. But let's go back when they had pure nationalism. Right? Japan understood that to rule the world, what Japan needs is colonies similar to UK, France and other countries. So Japanese are always in need of these colonies. They were controlling most parts of Russia, Mongolia, China, all these parts. And that led to Japanese atrocities in the region. Japanese had killed many people, raped many people. They have this, if anyone is cruel to these East Asian people, that is Japanese. They hate Japanese to the core, especially because of the atrocities that they had committed. So now in the Second World War, Japan was on the side of whom? Germany and Italy. Germany, Italy and Japan. These three came together and they were fighting. Japan was also one of the most powerful country, and during Second World War, people were using aircrafts a lot. For aircrafts, you need oil. And at that time, oil was not there in West Asia much, but oil was extracted near Indonesia. And this oil was extracted by Americans. And Americans had control over oil in the region. In 1929, America will have what we call as recession. Great recession will be there. And in 1929, after recession, America chose a leader called as Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was actually on wheelchair. He was not, people say he was having a polio attack, and he was on wheelchair throughout his life. But his brain was very sharp and he was able to bring America out of recession. Now, in the war, Second World War, America decided not to enter into the war because they came out of recession. 1929 recession started. 1939 what happened? Second World War started. So Americans felt, let us not enter into the war. So America was considered to be neutral. But Americans provided oil from Indonesia to UK, France and others, but didn't give oil to Germany, Japan or any other country. So it was supporting UK over Japan. At this point of time, Japan protested and asked US, if you are neutral, act neutrally. Don't support one over the other. That is absolutely wrong. US did not listen. At this time, US was storing all the oil at Pearl Harbor, a place called Pearl Harbor where they used to store all the oil. Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor to indicate the protest against US biasness in supplying oil to one over the other. Do you understand? The entire fight was for what? Oil. Now when Japan bombarded Pearl Harbor, Franklin D. Roosevelt called his team and he asked the team, can we wage war against Japan because these Japanese have attacked us? Army, Navy, Air Force told that no, Japan is too powerful for us to fight. Let's not think about fighting against Japan. It was at this time Franklin D. Roosevelt stood from his wheelchair, right, and he stood and said, if I can stand, can't you fight? That made US to enter into the war. In movies also you might have seen, so now US goal was not to defeat Germany or Italy. US goal was to defeat Japan. So US made friendship with three countries and they called it as CBI theater. China, Burma, India theater. Fine. China, Burma, India theater. To fight against whom? Japan. The goal is who? To defeat Japan. They took the help of China, they took the help of Burma. And if you read history, in history you will be reading 1939 when World War II started, Mahatma Gandhi told that we will not support the war of UK, so we will go for individual satyagraha. We will not distort the war as well because UK is on the right side, Germany and all are on the wrong side. I am not happy about the war. I am not happy to participate in the war. So to show my unhappiness, I will go for individual satyagraha, Gandhiji told, and we started individual satyagraha. But 1941-42, UK and France were losing and US was almost coming out to be powerful. Wherever Japanese came, UK ran away from that region. Singapore, Indonesia and many other parts, wherever Japanese came, they used to leave everyone and run away. Who? UK people. This was seen to be scary by many people. They felt that why are these people leaving us so soon? India was also aware that if Japan enters into India, UK people will leave us and run away. At this point of time, Franklin D. Roosevelt told UK, we need support of India. Without support of India, it's not easy to wage the war. So please take the support of India. Gandhiji went for Quit India movement at this time. In 1939, his words were different. In 1942, he was different because he knew now UK and France are no more powerful. US is important, Russia is important. Russia don't like colonialism. Russia believes it is part of capitalism. And US also don't like colonialism. US is supporting India's freedom. Franklin D. Roosevelt requested Churchill, Winston Churchill, who was Prime Minister of UK, please give independence to India. At that time, Churchill told, if you want India's independence, I will resign. You give. Then people felt Churchill was very, very important as Prime Minister of UK during the war. That's why they did not pressurize, but US always supported India's freedom struggle. And at this point of time, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose went to Russia first. And he took the help of Russia. But some person had told Hitler that if you control Siberia, do you recollect Siberia? Eastern side of Russia is called as what? Siberia. If you control Siberia, you will control the world. So someone had told Hitler that you will be the ruler of the world if you control Siberia. So what he did, he attacked Russia. Russia entered into the war. Japan attacked US. US entered into the war. Else, Germany could have easily won the war. Who came? US came, USSR came. Subhash Chandra Bose went to Japan, spoke with Japan, took the army of India, whoever had surrendered. I told you Britishers left. Army was there. With that army we came, and you might have heard about INA was formed. They came, they attacked, which you will read in history to a greater depth. But what I am trying to tell you is, 1945, Hitler surrendered first. He committed suicide. Germany surrendered to Russia. Whereas Japan was not ready to surrender. At this point of time, what Japanese used to do, oil was not there with Japan. So what Japanese used to do, take aircraft, go to US, drop a bomb, you go and hit a building and die. They had told all the soldiers, go, drop a bomb, hit the building and die. Every soldier became what? Suicide bomber. You can kill a person who is scared of death. You can't kill a person who is ready to commit suicide. Fine. This was the mindset of whom? Japanese. And Japanese will not surrender. Japanese had told that they won't surrender. I'll just give an example. Three people of Japanese army was told, don't surrender to the enemy. Go to Philippines and hide. 1944, 3 people from Japan went to Philippines islands and they were hiding in the forest of Philippines. Right? 1945 over, war ended, everything was over, but still these 3 people were hiding in Philippines itself. In 1955, one guy, while going to Philippines, they came to know that some of the Japanese army is even now hiding in these parts. We should ask them to come out because war is over. At that time, those people were not aware. So what they did, they went in aeroplane, they dropped pamphlets telling that war is over. Wherever Japanese soldiers are hiding, please come out. They took the pamphlets, they read the pamphlets, and they felt that this is US idea to catch them. They were hiding there only. And after 1965, 20-25 years, again one person from Japan who went in search of these people, went to Philippines, he found them and told, war is over, you come. He told, I won't surrender because my the military head has told not to surrender. If you want me to come out, bring him. Ask him to tell me to surrender. That guy was still alive. The guy who has told them was still alive. He came, he told them, fine, you can surrender now. Then in front of him they took the pledge, gave up the arms. Like, when after 30 years of Second World War ending, they were still fighting. You can imagine how they were. It was very, very difficult to defeat Japanese. So US took nuclear weapons, and they told a person, a soldier, go in airplane, this height, right, this latitude, open the bomb, drop it, turn and come back. You should not wait there. This is the order, this is the protocol. In Air Force and all, they follow the protocol, irrespective of whatever it is, they just follow the protocol. He just dropped and he came back. Next day in the newspaper, that pilot, he read whatever had happened and how much devastation he had caused, and people say he became mad and he committed suicide as well, because of the devastation that had happened because of his act. You might have heard, Japanese, when the nuclear bomb was dropped, there was a very, very big cloud type thing which reached almost till stratosphere, and then the radiation had affected the people. And the radiation was so bad that, every day people used to come, pain they could not bear. They used to stand in the line and ask the army to shoot them. So every day at a particular time, army will come, all the people will stand, whoever is affected, who don't want to leave, they are being shot by the army, and then they used to go. This was the horrific scenario which happened in Hiroshima. And even after that, Japan did not surrender. And then Nagasaki was bombarded. Then Japan felt, if this continues, no one will be left. It will be a disaster. And then Japanese surrendered. When Japanese surrendered, there were international cases against Japan for the war. Japanese were threatened, criticized, scolded, everything, every humiliation was done for Japan. There was a court. In that international court, Indian judge was there. Except Indian judge, everyone criticized Japan. Indian judge told, whatever has happened has happened. Blaming Japan today is of no use. We should forgive and support Japan. And that person is respected even today in Japan. And India, after India's independence, sent elephants to Japan as an indication of peace. And Japanese even today, they see it as an important gift because it gave them some hope. And remember, elephants represent Buddhism. I was telling you, Buddha's mother, when she was sleeping, a white elephant entered into her stomach. That is when she got to know that, Buddha was about to be born. So, any indication in Buddhism is associated with elephant. And India gifted elephants to the zoo of Japan. Even today, whenever diplomats write Indo-Japan relation, they begin by saying about these elephants. And that was seen as a symbol of hope. And no country in the world was willing to give iron ore and coal to Japan. India told, we will supply iron ore and coal to you, you develop industrially. Right? And then the world community decided to punish Japan. Japan told, I don't want to be divided like North Korea, South Korea, like Germany into West Germany and East Germany. I will be one, but I will give up arms. So in their constitution, they made a change. Article 2 of Japanese constitution says, I will not develop weapons. Everything will be taken care by whom? US. I will give money to US every year. US can keep their soldiers in my country and let them take care of my country. My country will focus on economy, not on anything else. By 1980s, Japan became world's second largest economic superpower. In 1990, when India got LPG, Japan told India, I am willing to invest in your country. Now, what India did, 75% will be of Indian company, 25% will be of Japanese. Right? If you say Maruti, Suzuki. So what India did, slowly, one after the other, Japanese companies came, Korean companies came. Now, these people will bring money into country. They will bring technology. And they will produce along with Tata Group. Fine? Like this, different companies came. Initially, spare parts were also brought from Korea and Japan. Later, all the spare parts were manufactured within the country. Only engine and other parts were brought. After few years, even engine was manufactured within the country. And later, Indian companies became very, very strong in technology of automobiles. Then they told, now Japanese company, Suzuki can be separate, Maruti can be separate, Hero can be separate company, Honda can be separate company. Like this, we separated. Today, India is the largest producer of automobiles in the world. Largest consumer of automobile, largest producer of automobile. Two things changed our position. One was the Ola and Uber when it came in the cities. Many people started purchasing cars. You might have seen even private people started purchasing and giving cars for rent. Demand for cars increased. Second, India is a country where software engineering grew, and at the age of, I'll just tell you, before 1990, if you have to get 25 to 30,000 salary per month, minimum age was 45 to 50. Fine. And once software entered into the country, minimum age was 21, 22. As soon as your engineering is done, people use it to get 22, 20, sorry, they used to get 35, 40,000. Now, at the age of 45, if you get 30,000, focus is on house, children's education, marriage, savings was more in the country. But after software's boom, so what happened at the age of 22, if you get 35, 40,000, your immediate dream is not to have house. What will be the dream? Bikes, cars, automobiles increased. Later real estate sectors and all started improving. India till that time was savings economy, but after that India became expenditure economy. Now when you are ready to purchase, you provide market. When you are providing the market, different companies will come and invest. So India started improving. Why Tesla is not being sold in India? The reason for this is India clearly says automobiles cannot be entered into India. That means if they manufacture outside, they cannot sell it in India. If you have to sell, it has to be manufactured within India itself. Right? And that will give Indians an edge, because companies, everything will come. So that is making Tesla not to enter into the country. And they have told, we don't want to invest in a country which does not allow our products to come. But if you have to come, you have to pay 250% to 300% tax. Like, so they have huge taxes to benefit us. But remember, Japanese were the one who helped India after liberalization. But 1998, India went for Pokhran 1. Pokhran 2. When India went for Pokhran 2, Japan became angry and upset with India because Japan don't like nuclear weapons. Why they don't like? They are the only country in the world which has suffered nuclear attacks. They told, along with US, we will put sanctions on India, but US withdrew the sanctions. Once US got to know that, Indian economy has increased during the sanctions. That means in 1999, Indian economy grew from 4.6% to 6.4%. When sanctions were there, why do people put sanctions on us? So that our economy decreases. But Indian economy improved. So Japanese and US withdrew sanctions, but Japan was not happy with India. Later, Prime Minister Modi, when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, he had good relations with two countries. One was Israel, another one was Japan. Once he became Prime Minister, Japanese and India's relationship improved, especially with Shinzo Abe's time, right? And US told Modi is Abe of in Asia. Not Shinzo Abe. Abe's grandfather was there, who is considered to be the one who had killed many Chinese people. Are you getting the point? Shinzo Abe's grandfather had killed many Chinese people. Chinese don't like Abe, or they don't like Shinzo Abe. So Shinzo Abe personally said sorry to Koreans, Southeast Asian countries, that whatever my grandfather or Japan had did before, we are sorry for that. After he apologized, many people accepted the apology as well. So when US told he is Abe of Asia, Modi is Abe of Asia, it was an indication that he is going to kill Chinese. Right? At this point of time, China told no, he is not Abe of Asia. He told some Chinese people's name and they compared him with that. But I'm just trying to tell you here, Indo-Japan relationship has changed over a period of time. And we are close to whom? Japan today. Which are the different areas? Together we are investing in different parts of the world. We are part of Quad. We are part of JAI. There is something called as Malabar exercise. Have you heard? Malabar exercise. Which three countries are part of it? India, US, Japan. I'll give all this list, what are all there. But do you understand? Do we have good relations or bad relations with Japan? Guys, recently there was an organization called Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. India said we will withdraw from this. As soon as India told we will withdraw from this, Japan told when my friend is not there, I will also withdraw. From where? RCEP. So one country which supports us almost everywhere is what? Japan. And guys, remember, Japan is prone to earthquakes. Japan is prone to earthquakes. Every half an hour, one earthquake will be there. They'll shake for a while. Fine. So they are so used to, if we go to Japan for the first time, we'll be so scared. Why earth is shaking so much? But those Japanese, they stand for a while. Whenever there is earthquake, they stand for a while. They shake for a while and then they move. It's so common for them. They will run and escape only when the building starts falling. Else, they are used to earthquakes because they are actually at the junction of different plates, which we'll read in geography. So because of that, Japan is affected by cyclones. Japan is affected by tsunamis. Japan is affected by earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, landslides. You name a disaster, it hurts Japan. But Japan is capable of coming out of any disaster, even if there is a big hole, like land goes down all of a sudden in Japan. They bring it up, within a week. So in all forms Japan has technology. India is willing to be good with Japan, but Japan's only problem is language. They don't study any other thing except Japanese. They don't communicate in English and other language. Others don't know Japanese language. This has made Japan not to be so popular like UK or US. One thing which has made Japan to look back is their language. One thing which Indians have out of the box is our English language. No. So we are better communicators, and Indians slang meets US, UK or anybody's if you train them. We talk the way they want. So Philippines and India is very good in this particular sector. So that's the reason today France and Germany is focusing on ensuring that language is penetrated. China is also making Mandarin compulsory, and it is promoting Mandarin in countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Southeast Asia and other parts. Like in your IB school boards and all, you might have seen you can take French language or Japanese language. There you can take Mandarin language. The difficult subject or language in the world is Mandarin language, guys. Even till today, no one has learnt all the alphabets of Mandarin. Forget about language. Alphabets only, there are so many, like that no one knows completely, and the pronunciation keeps on varying. Even if the sound varies, meaning changes there. So they have that issue. So Chinese is trying to promote their language slowly across the world. Fine. India is also promoting Hindi. Bollywood is there, which is actually helping to spread in some parts, but we are not doing it systematically. Clear? So you write down Japan, Indo-Japan relations, Indo-Japan relations, hyphen, at the international military tribunal, International Military Tribunal for the Far East, Indian judge Radha Binod Pal, became famous for his judgment in favor of Japan. Next, in 1949, India sent two elephants to Tokyo Zoo, which is considered to be a symbol of hope. Next point. In 1952, in 1952, India signed peace treaty, PEAC, peace treaty with Japan, and supported Japan economically. India was the main supplier of iron ore and coal. Next paragraph. In 1980s, India started developing closer ties with Japan under Look East policy. Next point. Japan became India's largest aid donor, AID, largest aid donor. What is aid? Free. Who is giving us more? Japan. Next, you write. In 1998, Japan imposed sanctions on India following nuclear test. During this, economic and political relations reduced further. After 3 years, Japan removed sanctions on India and relations improved between India and Japan to the point where Shinzo Abe, SHINZO ABE, became chief guest at India's Shinzo Abe, chief guest at India's Republic Day parade. Yes, every year during Republic Day we call one guest, right? In 2014, who came? Shinzo Abe. I told you Modi as chief minister had good relations with Japan and Israel, so he called Japanese president. Fine. So you write below. In 2014, in 2014, they signed in inverted commas here, right? Special strategic global partnership. Next, in 2016, Japan signed inverted commas agreement for peaceful use of nuclear energy, where close inverted commas and right, where Japan will supply nuclear reactors, fuel, fuel and technology to India. Wisdom. The two sides also signed agreements on skill development, cooperation in space, earth sciences, agriculture, forestry, fisheries, etc. Next point. Japan is third largest investor in India. Next point. In 2015, Japan agreed to build a bullet train between Mumbai and Ahmedabad with Japan's Shinkansen technology, with loan from whom? With loan from Japan, where it will be funded at 0.1% interest rate, and in 2022, the new Japanese Prime Minister the new Japanese Prime Minister pledged, PLEDGAD, pledged 5 trillion yen, YEN, or $42 billion, $42 billion investment in India. Can you see the investment numbers? They are so huge. From where? Japan to India. Next you write, India and Japan have joint military exercise called Malabar along with US. Next, Quad, QUAD, Quad was proposed by Japanese Prime Minister which includes Japan, India, US and Australia. US and Australia. Next, India and Japan has a common policy of free and open Indo-Pacific. Free and open Indo-Pacific. Next point, India and Japan are investing in Afro-Asia Growth Corridor, Afro-Asian Growth Corridor, where Japanese economic power and India's which power? Soft power is used. Next, Buddhism is area of cooperation historically So guys, if you go down in culture, people also talk about what you call as Doraemon. They also talk about movies from India. Tamil movies are very, very popular. Especially Rajnikant is very popular in this particular part. When his movies released and all, on their aircrafts and all, they had Rajnikant pictures. And nowadays, at least in the last 2 to 3 years, you might have seen Indian movies are getting worldwide recognition, where we are able to get overseas money as well. The same thing is happening with Japan, because now I would say if you can add in the end one or two lines, that is not wrong. If you can talk about the Bollywood influence, because there are 3 to 4 books which I observed recently where they tell Bollywood influence in India's international relations, right? Similarly, Tamil movies have their own influence, and you might have heard about which one, Three Idiots and Amir Khan's another Dangal, like it got more collection in China than any other part, right? And then your Magadira, Bahubali and all, fine, these are watched more in that part. Similarly guys, Korean movies are watched in India a lot, like so you have big followers of Korean movies in India as well. So different areas influence will be there, cultural influence will be there. Why is it important? I'll tell you. US spread their soft power through movies itself. People, when they were watching the movies, they relate to the people, they like the cultures of it. Now if you are a big fan of Korean dramas, right, you won't hate Korean people, you have some sort of loving towards them. Hey, they are sweet people, you feel, like, that builds relation. Cultural relation between the countries are mostly about that. In Russia recently, when there was a survey being made, like and when they were asked whom do you consider to be closer to Russia, 85% of the people voted that India is there. They consider India to be the most important ally of Russia. So people to people relationship, when we say, let's say the government wants to do something good with Pakistan, the way people look at it is negative rather than positive, correct? Because we feel, because we have hatredness towards Pakistan. But that's not the same case when it comes to these. Now Japanese, Koreans and all, when they have given so many things, can we say that when Shinzo Abe died, we went to the extent of hoisting, like the flag half, indicating our relationships with them? Can you see how this will be seen by them? You just think from that point of view. Someone, he is not a president as well, he is not a prime minister of Japan as well, he was an opposition leader who was fighting for elections. So now his death, if we had mourned for his death, that clearly indicates the relationship that establishes. Israel people, whenever there is Independence Day, Republic Day, or when Article 370 was removed, first country to tweet in support of India was Israel. Like we welcome. When there is a festival, they put in Israeli, like the Jewish language about Hebrew, like they type and they tell, we wish India this specific one. These normally try to build people to people relationship, and once acceptance increases, we can go for big projects. Fine, that will help in overall development of the country's relations. Fine. Japan this year is important because of Shinzo Abe. Fine. So we'll meet after the break. Yes, yes. So now, when we talk about Taiwan, fine. When we talk about Taiwan, Taiwan was also under the control of Japan. It was also colony of Japan. Now, in China, there was a guy by name Mao Zedong. Fine. Now, Mao was having an ideology which we use in India even today, and that ideology is called Maoism. Maoist, whatever you call. Now, what he says, he followed communism. He wanted to remove poverty, inequality in China. There was a king who was ruling China, and he was following some sort of capitalism. And in China, if you see, eastern side of China, even today is very well developed. Whereas on the western side of China, it is not well developed. So, if you see Asia map, where you have Kashgar region, can you see? Kashi, Kashgar region. That province is called as Xinjiang. Fine. This province is known as Xinjiang province of China. And in this part, you have certain Muslims called as Uyghur Muslim community. Fine. And this is called as Uyghur Autonomous Area. That means it is an independent area within China. And it is very less developed. Development is very less in this particular part. Below that you can see Tibet, Lhasa. Right? Tibet is also having Tibetan Buddhists. Right? Tibet extended into Arunachal Pradesh, Bhutan, Sikkim, Nepal. They were all part of Tibetan Empire, Tibetan Kingdom. And when Tibetan king Dalai Lama became weak, Dalai Lama is a position, not name of a person. Right? When Dalai Lama in Tibet became weak, at that time, Nepal, Sikkim, Bhutan, they said we are independent countries. And they all declared independence. You might have heard about Samanta Rajas. Right? So they were all part of the kingdom. They all got separated. They established independent kingdoms. Which three? Nepal, Bhutan, Sikkim. But Tibet was also an independent country. Uyghur region was also independent region. And in China, water scarcity is extremely high in these regions. If you come to this part, if you go to Gobi Desert, Manchurian plains, in that part as well, water scarcity is very, very high. China is developed mostly in the southern part of China. Can you see there? You will have some rivers like Huanghe and all in China. That is like, Southeast Asia. Above Southeast Asia, do you have Huanghe, Sikiang, northern part, Chinese did not had good agriculture as well. And China is dominated by Uyghur Muslims on the western side, Tibetan people below, remaining part population we call Han. They also have other cultures of their own, which is not purely Buddhism alone. And these people, right, they do not have proper water. Even today, if you go to traditional Chinese areas, right, one of my colleague, he visited China and he went to study in this Xinjiang region and all. Like, how you have rocks. He was studying about that. So when he went there, he took the help of few local people there who were also into the research, and they went. And when they went into that particular part, you will have, if you go to remote areas, you will have some small shops where food and all will be available, the same way we have on the highways and all. So it was available there, and everything has two rates. Let's say noodles, you will have two rates, right? Everything was having two rates. So one is 10 rupees, another one is 15 rupees. So this guy said, what is the difference? They said both are same. So he went first, later the other people came, and he took the 10 rupees one, and later the other people who came, they ordered the 15 rupees one. She was like, both are same. Now why did you order 15 rupees one? And this guy told the others who were localites, they said, which one did you take? He said, I took 10 rupees one. Have you eaten it? Yes. They said, then you eat. We'll talk later. Fine. And later when they came out and asked, why is it 10 rupees and why the other one is 15? In China, water scarcity is more, right? Plates, if it is cleaned by water, it is 15 rupees. If it's not cleaned, then it's 10. You can imagine the problem with water in these particular areas. And the king was supporting US during the CBI theater. So he was the most powerful person in China. Mao said that first take up people's issue, talk to people, become closer to the people, train the people in the army, armed forces, and then you always be with the people itself, hide within the people. He was the one who gave the statement, the relationship between, the Maoists and people must be like fish and water, not like fish and fishermen, right? And he actually told this in the book to tell that all these people should take up arms and fight against the state. So what happened? They came together, overthrew the king in 1949 and established communism. Mao became the official head of China. And China, I divided into two. One is mainland China. Another one is what? Taiwan. Mainland China is under the control of whom? Mao. And he called China as PRC. What is PRC? People's Republic of China. Whereas in Taiwan, the king escaped and it became ROC. What is it? Republic of China. Okay, so guys, 1945, China was ruled by whom? King. And China got United Nations Security Council permanent membership. That means who got permanent membership? ROC got permanent membership. Do you understand? Now, when did Mao attack and made it PRC? Which year? 1949. So, when ROC went into Taiwan, United Nations Security Council was also given to whom? Taiwan. Was not under the control of China. It was under the control of whom? Taiwan for a while. Fine. And then can you tell who will support whom? US and USSR. Who will support US? Who will support USSR? China PRC will be supported by whom? USSR. Taiwan will be supported by whom? Yes. Do you all understand? So it became war between two countries. Whom will India support? India will support whom? US or this? Or Taiwan or China? Nehru told, Mao is like brother. Indo, Hindi, Chini, bye bye. We told. And we also told we will not interfere in the internal matters of China, which we call it as Panchashil Agreement. Have you heard? All those were made between whom? India and China. We were very good. But China attacked Tibet, captured Tibet. Once China captured Tibet and Chinese told that Tibetan agreements with other countries is not valid, what happened? India started asking for McMahon Line to be the border between India and China. And many Tibetan people, can you see China is surrounding Tibet on three sides. The only country which is on the other side is what? India. So what happened? Many people from Tibet started escaping into India. Refugees started coming into India. Panchashil agreement says that India will not talk about internal issues of China and China will not talk about internal issues of India. When refugees came to India, India told we will not send back refugees. Second, these refugees cannot have any political movement against China from India. Refugees can come and stay, but they cannot form organizations, training and all, and fight against whom? China. So India will remain neutral when it comes to this. And India told one China policy. And at this point of time, mainland China told United Nations Security Council should be under my control, not under Taiwan. At this point of time, India supported China and told yes, it must go under the control of China. Many countries supported, US also agreed, and China became member of UN Security Council. And Taiwan said, I will go out. Why are you people recognizing China? I will go out. And Taiwan resigned from United Nations. And later when Taiwan wants to come, China is not allowing Taiwan to enter. China has blocked Taiwan entry. And China says Taiwan is part of China. It is not a separate one. Now within Taiwan there are two political parties. One political party is closer to China, another political party is closer to US. So one political party which supports China, when they come to power, they always try to develop good relations with China. Now what is India's role? Do we recognize Taiwan or not? If you want to go to Taiwan, we have two possibilities. One, Taiwan has a separate consulate in India. You can go there, you can apply for visa, they will give you visa and go, which indicates that India recognizes Taiwan to be a separate country. Second, within Chinese embassy also, you will have Taiwan. Inside Chinese embassy also, Taiwan embassy is there, Taiwan consulate is there. Taiwan consulate is separate also. Are you getting the point? So what is the meaning of it? We recognize Taiwan to be part of China as well. We recognize Taiwan as separate as well. We are not clarifying on that particular thing. And Taiwan believes that India can be helpful to them in resolving certain issues. And Taiwan has developed good relations with India. But now, talking about China, can you tell with how many countries China has land border? Can you count? With how many countries China has land border? See? 12, 13, all numbers are there. 12, Did you include Afghanistan? Does Afghanistan and China has border? No? No? They have a small border, guys. Afghanistan has a small border with China. See guys, why I am asking you, China told India during the Galwan crisis, India, you are a violent country. You have fight with all the neighbors. India told China, you have border with 13 countries, but you have border problem with 22 countries. No? So they have problem with Japan, South Korea, Indonesia, Philippines and all. So India told, do you understand now? So you have more problems. So now you tell who is the actual problem creator. So China is having border problem with all the regions, mainly because they took Uyghur region, they called it theirs. Uyghur had agreements with other countries, that was not accepted. Tibet had agreements with other countries and Tibet became part of China, that was not accepted. And guys, Mao, when he came to power, he had a dream to build a Maoist state with equality. Unfortunately, people of China were not skilled enough. They did not have the skills. And he thought to develop purely on the basis of agriculture. Russia, before Tsar revolution happened, industries were already there. Russians were intelligent enough. But China, only agriculture. So much of population. And when population was so high, China didn't control, because Karl Marx, during explaining population, he says, population is not a problem in a communist state, but population is a problem only in capitalist state. So because of that, he did not control population as well. So people were more, food was not enough. So what he did, he went for cultural revolution. In the cultural revolution, he asked people to stay in Manchurian plains, Gobi desert, Uyghur region, go, live there and do whatever you can. It was at this point of time, people did not had proper food to eat. You have to feed so much of people. So what they did, they started digging the land. Whatever organism they saw, they started eating them. So today if you see, Chinese eat almost everything which flies except aeroplane. Like, and they eat anything which has 4 legs except a table, they say. And that is true mainly because it became part of their culture. Right? If you see a frog, the children, if they see a frog, they jump along with them. But their children, if they see, they take and keep it in the mouth. You have vertical forests in China. You might have heard. Like, vertical forests in China. What is vertical forest? You, on the buildings, forests are being developed. And for us, we have this, what do you call as, poultries where you raise, right? So there what has happened, in the forests, vertical forests, on the buildings they have the trees and all, which they are trying to grow, and there you will have snakes and all. Fine. And they consume everything. It became part of their culture because of the cultural revolution. At that time, people who went there, who struggled there and who ate whatever was possible, that made them. And see guys, any habits or anything people develop mainly because of their own history, which would have happened over a period of time. You might have seen during COVID, people were showing the markets of Wuhan, right? They, like, how filthy it was and what all products were there. So they are used to that. Now, culturally, China was worried. Agriculturally, China was worried. Industrially, China was worried. It was at this time, China was very skeptic about India, that India is supporting Tibetan refugees. So China attacked whom? India. 1962 Indo-China war started. Who lost? India lost. Why did we lose? The main reason was Nehru thought China will never attack war on us. For a simple reason, communism, we will not wage war. We both will be good. Second, Nehru, because of that thought, he did not send army, troops towards Chinese border. Third, we thought Himalayas are there to protect us. Crossing Himalayas, coming and hitting us is difficult. Whereas China, on the other hand, had developed aircrafts. They could come. Whereas Indian Air Force was not so strong. When we crossed Himalayas, what happened? Radars identified us and they blasted us easily. And we did not had good infrastructure. Road, railways were not there. Reaching that point was also very difficult. Whereas on the Chinese side, Tibet is a plateau. So reaching on the plateau, driving on the plateau is very easy compared to driving on the roads, hills. So we had the problem, they did not had the problem. So once India lost, India was threatened. USSR, which was a communist country, remained neutral, but US supported India. They sent nuclear weapons to Indian Ocean, by which Chinese withdrew. 1962, US became a very good friend of whom? India. But at that point of time, USSR was concerned and they wanted to develop good relations with India. So what USSR did? USSR gave MiG aircrafts and technology to whom? India. China was upset with the development. China do not have a friend in US, neither they have a friend in USSR. So China decided to develop its own what? Nuclear weapon. After this, China won the war, but China had to face lot of humiliation in the world. People started criticizing China on all grounds. It was at this point of time, China developed nuclear weapons and the hatredness between India and China continued to increase. After winning the war, they were more humiliated for attacking India. They were criticized. Why did you attack India? India was such a good country. Including USSR criticized China. At this point of time, China also became one of the most important, powerful country in the world. But China thought that my economy is collapsing, I need to develop. So what it did? Its polity, it followed communism. In communism, elections won't be there. Everything will be done by Communist Party. Party will take care of everything. Whereas, economically, Chinese plan was to go for capitalism. That too they went for crude capitalism. Crude capitalism in the sense, labor is cheap. No environmental loss. No environmental loss, cheap labor, Companies have lot of freedom. Land was under the control of government. Land was given for free to many companies so that they can come and invest. So what happened? China became production hub of the world. There were two countries which were attractive to the world. One was China, another one was India. Why China? cheap labor. Why India? India provided market. Indians were purchasing more. Why? Because middle class in India started improving rapidly because of the software sector. BPO software led to rapid development in India, where money entered into the hands of people. Yes, we will feel. Can you tell which places in India are developed? Hardly, if you check software wise. Delhi, right? Bangalore, Hyderabad, right? Pune, like Thiruvananthapuram, few. But these are enough for countries because that population, each one is at least 70 to 80 lakhs till 1 crore, right? If you take 10 cities which are developed in India, it is 10 crores. 10 crores is huge population for industries. 10 crore car sales, can you imagine? Right? So that is a very big, and what happened? Spillover effect was there. You have a software sector, right? Who is buying the car? Not only the guy who has job, but to drop him. You might have heard about the cab services and all. That many people use it to buy and attach it to the companies that use it to serve. So many drivers, Ola, Uber, like Swiggy, Zomato, all this started purchasing. India became a market, whereas China became what? Cheap labor. Now China is having almost $5 trillion in its Exim Bank, and with that account it is trying to rule the world. But the problem here is 5 trillion China has in dollars, not in their currency. Do you understand? So if dollar value falls, if anything happens to US, China will lose the money. Fine? And if US attacks China, China will pay with this $5 trillion and US economy will collapse. Are you getting the point? So today China and US have entered into such a phase that both need not drop a bomb on each other. Only manipulating the currency is enough for other to destroy. But the problem is, if US gets destroyed, China automatically gets destroyed because $5 trillion is gone. If China is destroyed, US will also be destroyed because China will manipulate the $5 trillion. Are you getting the point? So both are equally at risk. So many people tell China and US will never wage a war against each other because both economy will collapse. It is called as economic interdependence. What is it called? Economic interdependence. Now guys, China had issue with Russia as well. Border problems with Russia. One fine day China went to Russia, resolved all the problems with Russia. So there is no border problem of China with whom? Russia. Second, China has lot of its natural resources, iron ore and coal, present near Gobi Desert, Manchurian plains. I told you that region, you have lot of iron ore and coal of whom? China. And China is not extracting iron ore and coal from this area. It is importing from Australia and India. India and Australia are supplying iron ore and coal to China. But largest reserves in the world found is in China. China is not extracting anything. What China is planning is, let the world use all its iron ore and coal. And once the world uses, where it will be present? China. Then China will decide who should get iron ore and who should get coal. China has rare earth minerals. You might have heard. World's largest rare earth minerals are in China. Fortunately, now it is found in Afghanistan and Mozambique, Africa. Right? What is the use of rare earth minerals? They are used in semiconductor chips like mobiles. And if you're talking about electric vehicles, in that the motherboard, what all you use, they are all associated with what? Rare earth minerals. Who has this rare earth minerals? China. I'll just tell you, near Senkaku Islands, one Chinese ship went. When the Chinese ship went, Japanese told, how did you come to my territory, and caught the Chinese ship along with the officer. Naval officer was caught. After this, China asked Japan, release him or face the consequences. Japanese told, we won't release. At this point of time, what China did? China said, we will stop rare earth minerals export to Japan. And Japan and South Korea are also good in electronic industries. If rare earth minerals is stopped sending to Japan, then Japanese industries will collapse. So because of that fear, Japanese released those naval officers. So a commodity can play a very, very important role. You can see today Russia is stopping gas to Germany. Did you read it? Like, they are saying that there is some maintenance issues, so we are closing down. Every year maintenance will be done. This year when the maintenance is there, Germany is feeling the heat. And do you know what Germany is thinking will happen? You tell me, 40% of Europe's gas come from Russia. What is the use if Russia stops it? What will happen? Supply of gas decreases, correct? Gas is important for electricity. If electricity is not there, production decreases. If production decreases, what will happen? Demand increases, inflation increases, right? And products will become costlier. People will not be in a position to purchase. Most of the goods are luxury goods, and luxury goods, if people stop purchasing, then it will lead to recession, right? Entire Europe will enter into recession because of what? One commodity. Now you tell, should they fight against Russia or should they purchase from Russia? Should they be good with Russia? So now you tell Germany about Ukraine, what will it tell? Russia is fighting against Ukraine. What will Germany tell? Will they interfere or will they remain quiet? They won't comment on it. Do you agree? Can we say commodities play a very important role in the world market? Actually, world was scared that Europe will stop importing gas from Russia. But the other thing has happened where Russia is threatening, I will stop. Do you understand? Everyone was fearing that Europe may stop and Russia economy may collapse. But Russia is voluntarily turning it off because India has purchased 15% more gases from Russia than the previous years. 40% of its supply is to whom? Europe, right? 15% India is purchasing, remaining China is purchasing from Russia. So if India and China can purchase more, do they need Europe? So in the last 4 months, India has increased its purchase by 15 to 20%, and we have reduced it from Iran and Saudi Arabia. Are you getting the point? Which clearly indicates that India is supporting whom? Russia. And this is making Russia confident that I don't need Europe anymore. I will teach Europe a lesson. And it is turning off in that particular part. Now what I am trying to say, China wants to do the same with iron ore and coal in future. They are not extracting iron ore and coal from these areas. Whereas India is extracting as much as possible and giving it to China so that they can develop. Right. So now yes, just one thing about China. If we go across, open world map. So yes, if you leave China internally, East China Sea, you saw the issue of ADIZ, correct? Then you have South China Sea. Can you check? South China Sea, China has a problem called 9-dash line. 9-dash line. I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Fine. And then in Indian Ocean, China has problem with Strait of Malacca. China is overly dependent on whom? Strait of Malacca. Guys, can you all see in South China Sea, Thailand will be there? Can you see Thailand is there? And in Thailand, do you have like this? Yes. One side you will have Andaman Sea. Another side you will have Gulf of Thailand. Do you have? In between, land is there. Small land is there. Now, this is Strait of Malacca. Below Malaysia, they have Strait of Malacca. If you have to go to China, then you have to go through this route. Fine. Now, China is giving $100 billion to Thailand, and China is cutting the land here. China is cutting the land in this particular part. If they cut the land, can I say water will flow through this? If water will flow, can the ships and all move? China is constructing a artificial pass which connects these two. And can you imagine, this is almost 50 to 80 kilometers. 50 to 80 kilometers, you're cutting the land to connect the ocean. Are you understanding? So that Chinese dependency on Strait of Malacca reduces. Should India support this or oppose this? India has told we will welcome the step. Along with China, we will also use. But the problem here is, if China has to go to this, then they have to cross Andaman and Nicobar. Then this will become the busiest region. Here our navy is there, here our navy is there. We will guard who is going. And I told you, in the place, sight is very, very important. Seeing what is happening is very, very important. And remember, India can become an entry port. Entry port means it is a port where countries will exchange the goods. China will come, dump all the goods here. India will go dump the goods here. Chinese will take Indian goods, India will take Chinese goods. Can I say the port will become extremely useful? What is Singapore? Why is Singapore so rich? What do they do? It's an entry port where different countries will come, they exchange the goods and go. Now you tell, if this becomes important, will India become important? Can India have entry port in this particular part? And you know, more than 120 countries will use India happily. They don't have problem with India. So, India is supporting Isthmus of Kra, we call. Fine. So, you have East China Sea, South China Sea, Strait of Malacca. I will talk about Myanmar. We spoke about China. We spoke about Sri Lanka. We spoke about Maldives. Pakistan, I told you about CPEC, right? And what is Chinese role in Africa? We just need to see them. Nothing more than that. Clear? China, US, Russia. We are not going to see country specific alone, but we need to see them from the world point of view as well. I'm not going to dictate notes on China's internal history, that is cultural revolution and all, not required. What is important is Chinese problem with other parts of the world, right? and how India is countering them every year in different areas. Fine. So we'll meet tomorrow, guys.